Patrick Williams, my guy. Ladies and gentlemen, for the Chicago Bulls had themselves a mini camp, and we've been getting a little bit of information coming out of that mini camp. And we just got the news that Patrick Williams had an injury setback. My goodness. I know we're gonna talk about it and break it down right after this.
Cognac, gang.
Shy Bulls podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm bringing y'all some breaking news today. If y'all tuned in, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell as well. We know that the Chicago Bulls has just, diving through some reports. We understand that the Chicago Bulls, the players held themselves a mini camp down in Miami. If y'all can see on the page right now, I got a video up talking about Zach LaVine, showing some of his leadership for what took place down there in Miami. And then not too long ago, we found out that Patrick Williams has found himself right back in the news and not in a very, very good positive light. Hey, Chicago, we down bad right now. No cap. We down bad right now. After last night, we seen our Chicago Bears take a horrible loss. And shame on y'all for some of the people that was dancing after the loss. I was out there tailgating, watching the game in the parking lot with y'all Bears fans. Y'all make me sick. Make me sick. And then we wake up. We trying to get over the loss to the Indianapolis Colts, and then boom. Now our Chicago Bulls take a hit. Patrick Williams is down. We don't know how long, though, but he is down. It has been reported that Patrick Williams experienced some discomfort during the team's minicamp in Miami and required additional rest in recent weeks. His availability is the biggest unknown in the short term. Long term, the setback forces one to wonder whether Williams will be able to assemble a breakout season given his lengthy layoff. And he only appeared in his last game he played in January 25th. My man's just got himself a bag. It's a lot to dive into that when they talk about Patrick Williams for sure, because right now, Patrick Williams is in a really tough spot. If I'm keeping it a buck, he did get his money, so it's not as tough as saying what it really is. But it's probably just me panicking a little bit, if I'm being honest. But I gotta look at P. Will and be like, my God, can we stay healthy, my guy? That's all I'm asking. Can we please stay healthy? Because Patrick Williams has not lived up to the bill. We have not seen Patrick Williams rise to the level of what we believe he's capable of. We had a lot of anticipation coming into this season with Patrick Williams now being given that money, and then also adding on that DeMar DeRozan is no longer a part of the squadron, who a lot of us believe was in the way of Patrick Williams. Now, it's not the end all be all. He can very well still be ready for the season. He can still very well be, not miss a lot of games or not miss a lot of time. But one has to wish, like P. Will, we want you healthy to start this season. We want all hands on deck in training camp. We want all hands on deck during preseason so the Chicago Bulls, who doesn't have a lot of expectations, can at least look like a decent team moving in the right direction. Now, don't get me wrong. We're not going to be able to tell if the Chicago Bulls are moving in the right direction based off just 3, 4, 5 games, however many weeks P will miss, if any. But we do want to see these young guys come together and play well. You know what I'm saying? We don't have a lot of expectations when it comes to the win totals for Patrick Williams, but Patrick Williams and the Chicago Bulls. But we at least want to see if P. Will can, up that scoring average. Can he go out there and play well on the defensive side as he has done throughout his career thus far? Can P. Will be a reason that the Chicago Bulls win a game? We want to absolutely see that stuff, but unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, because we don't know if he's going to miss any time, but these are some of the things that come up and why us Chicago sports fans bang our head on the table. Because the Bears, they can't get their stuff together. The White Sox stinks. The Cubs, they trying to figure it out. The Blackhawks stinks. The Chicago Sky out of the playoffs. The Chicago Bulls dealing with this. We trading away players. We dealing with a bunch of injuries. We trying to figure it out over here in Chicago before we crash out. Before we crash out. We gonna end up crashing out real soon if Chicago sports keep putting us through this heartache, bruh. And it's not over because not a single game has been played. You just hope that Patrick Williams can be just right, bro. That's all you really want out of Patrick Williams. You don't want to hope that after giving this guy a 5-year, $90 million deal that he ain't going to be able to play much of it. We don't want to run into that situation. You know what I'm saying? Injuries are a part of the game, but we definitely want our young players to be relatively healthy. Right now, Patrick Williams has not shown that he can sustain that for multiple seasons. We've seen him play 82, you know what I'm saying, a couple years ago with Nikola Vucevic. That was great for him. You know, that was great for him. But then last season, again, he went down in January of this year. And there was a lot left to be desired when we talk about what the hell was going on with that. You know what I'm saying? I got a couple people up in here with me. The big one saying, this is garbage, fam. Man, and he said P. Will best earn that contract or I'm finna be pissed off like gang, 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 pow, pow, pow. You feel me, right? I do, bro. I do the big one. For real. We do. Y'all getting my messages though, because I'm staying in a new bathroom at Starbucks. Folks here real friendly too, because I be up all in here all day and they don't even throw my ass out. Hey, shout out to you then. And I appreciate you tuning in. For sure. The injury, they didn't specify the injury, but the discomfort has to come in maybe that foot, you know what I'm saying, that he had surgery on, or something lower leg. But it's just a setback right now of some discomfort. It's not saying that anything is torn. It's not saying that anything is sprained, but they're saying that he experienced some discomfort. So maybe just maybe it could just be a red flag in there. Maybe it's something. Maybe it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? But the biggest question is what now does this mean for P. Will? What does it mean for Montes Buzelis? Do y'all think that Billy Donovan will play Montes Buzelis at the 4? Me personally, I don't think that's the route that they're gonna go. You know what I'm saying? But it's always something on the table because I think that Torrey Craig, is that still in your plans to give him a lot of tick moving into this season? I feel like that's a solid question to ask. Where does Torrey Craig fit in all this? Will he be the backup 4? And where are you going to play Montes Buzelis anyway? Was he going to be the 3 or the 4? That was still a great question. And I think it's still, we don't know or have all the answers right now. And rightfully so. It's still early. Nobody has, you know what I'm saying, came into what has been the start of quote unquote training camp. That takes place next week. But it's still like, bro, like, it's still a little frustrating on this morning. And depending on where you live, it's gloomy outside right now, depending on where you live. And it's starting to get colder, depending on where you live. You know what I'm saying? And we don't want to wake up to news like this. The big one still chiming in, said P. Willie earning like $90 million. So he best be on that court 24/7, 369, not 365, 369. That means he got to put his overtime. Blessed up in the building. Blessed up Shay said, we'll start Montes now. That's the route we going with. That's where we going. We'll see. Well, more minutes for Montes Buzelis and Julian Phillips. Hey, I think a real question is, when will the Chicago Bulls get tired of this with P. Will? I mean, apparently they ain't that tired, though, because they already gave him the money. They already gave him the money. They can't be that tired. You know what I'm saying? So the South Garcon, shout out to you, man. We said the injury. They didn't really specify what the injury was. They just said there was some discomfort. If we trying to, place things and time into one another, I gotta imagine it has to do something with the lower extremities, maybe the knee or the foot. You know what I'm saying? Maybe something along those lines, and we will continuously keep you guys update as more information flows in about Patrick Williams and the status of him. And Bobby Speaks is in the building. Bobby G is in the building. He said add him to the trading block at the deadline. Ooh, that's a tough crowd. Hey, I ain't even gonna lie to you. I mean, he will be a desired piece, but to my knowledge, I think they won't be able to move him this season. depending on the contract. I don't think they'll be able to move him this season. So P will look like he might be staying put. I had to double check on that though, for sure. He said, okay, just some ramp up issues. Williams had better at least start with him getting this contract. For sure. Honestly, this Levine buy-in news is even more disappointing for me. I don't know, fam. Why? Chime in on that. Why? Because I feel like the buy-in is what me personally, Zach LaVine has to buy in, whether that's for the now or for the long term. Zach LaVine, around him, he already has people criticizing him as not being a winning player. That's the stigma around him. That's the conversation that surrounds him. So with Zach LaVine buying in, and with the reports that are coming out of saying that he's showing up for guys, he's picking up the tab, he's showing up to minicamp, he's showing up early. Those are good signs for him. Whether the plan is to stay here long term or not, that is something that he should want out there in the news cycle, to say that Zach LaVine is being a good teammate. Zach LaVine is being professional. You know what I'm saying? We know Rich Paul had to push back towards some of the disdain that Zach LaVine received for not being professional, quote unquote, or not fully buying in or playing basketball on the court. So I would say that he needs the good pub. He needs the good news to be behind him right now. He's gonna need that type of stuff. I wouldn't say it's disappointing. I would say it's a good thing. Check out the video I just dropped not too long ago before I found out that we had breaking news. I talked about Zach LaVine and his willingness, and you know what I'm saying, why he has to step up. And I think it comes down to a lot of reasons. And one of those reasons is that Zach LaVine has to exemplify some type of leadership for these young Bulls. You know what I'm saying? We talk about the leadership of Chicago Bulls the last few years. That went to DeMar DeRozan. And I ain't saying he got to be DeMar DeRozan, but at least be one of the guys in the locker room that people can lean on. And that don't have to come with him yelling at guys. That can come with him just simply leading by example. He ain't got to go out there and be the world's greatest leader. Just show some leadership in that regard. Blessed Up Shay, he said, I know not everyone agreed. Just let Montes play behind Torrey Craig, but I say I go for it. He's 6'10". Why not? I know he's slim, but just see what it looks like. I ain't mad at that. Hey, I would say that there's some guys around here that's a little light in the jeans, and they still able to play the four. Or you talking about Chet Holmgren, players like that. Well, I ain't gonna bring Wemby in this because he's just an anomaly. He big as hell regardless, but he is a little light. You know what I'm saying? But I think that he gonna be able to work on that and get better. And that's the same thing that can happen with Montes Buzelis. Montes Buzelis was slated to be a top 5 pick. He fell to 11 to the Chicago Bulls. So he's very well capable. I think he has the mentality for it. But I don't necessarily know if that's what Billy Donovan wants to do. I would say, hey, you explore the option. And you see what happens with that. Dinkins. Oh, I ain't want to mess up. Novocaine. I got you, big dog. He said P. Will needs some milk. He need more than that. He needs some Ensure. Bro, strengthen it up. The South says I need him gone like yesterday. When Tim gone, people can finally get the run they need to improve. It's not about Zach anymore. Yes, that was absolutely. You're right on that. That's what Mark Eversley told us. That's the GM. He told us that it ain't about Zach LaVine or Nikola Vucevic anymore. But I will say this. Even though he wanted to be traded, most of us wanted to see him traded. The fact of the matter is that he ain't traded. He's still on the Chicago Bulls, and that's how we're going to have to rock out with him. But that's why I say that there needs to be a plan in place for him and the Chicago Bulls. And if that's for him to stay, cool. If that's for him to go, cool. But you got to work as a team to accomplish the goal. If you want Zach LaVine out the building, you got to put some good things around him and show he also has to go out and play some good basketball and remain healthy. But you also want to get a good deal in return. Right now, for the moves that we've made this offseason, I know it ain't a lot of trust when it comes to the Chicago Bulls and them executing the trade, but I do believe that if you move Zach LaVine, you should be able to get something back, right? According to what it looks like from the Chicago Bulls, they ain't getting enough back. So they probably sitting on their hands. I don't necessarily agree with it, But I will say this. You don't just trade Zach LaVine straight up for somebody. I necessarily didn't believe they should have traded Alex Caruso straight up for Josh Giddey. I believe that should have been some type of capital involved in that. And that should be some type of capital involved with trading Zach LaVine. Blessed Up Shay said, I know P. Will can play 4 spot, but he not like a really big guy at 6'7". So I think it takes a toll on his body to have to work extra hard. I think that could be something in that. I think there could be some truth in that. You know what I'm saying? A pretty much an undersized guy playing the 4 spot. But I will argue and push back and say there's a lot of guys his size playing the 4 spot. You know what I'm saying? And you might be right. The physicality can take a toll on certain players' body, and then they break down. And then in other cases, the toll is not so bad for said players. But for the meantime, the Chicago Bulls want P. Will to be there for. At least that's what they've been showing us and what they've been telling us. Obviously, those plans can change now that the team is moving in a different direction. But I still see right now the intentions was to have him still play the 4. And I don't think he's going anywhere else other than the 4. So, Cordell in the building. What up? He said P. Will pulled a Daniel Jones on us. Bruh. Bruh. It better not be one of those type of situations, man. It better not. For real. It better not. The South said Williams not a 4 and LaVine's not or has ever been a leader. This team stuck until they remedy those related issues. I can't argue with it. Yeah, the Bulls have not been good enough for me to argue anything. You know what I'm saying? The Bulls have not been good enough to argue anything. But I will say this. The Bulls believe Patrick Williams is a 4, hence why he keeps playing the 4 spot. And with Zach LaVine still being on this team, I honestly feel like the Bulls starting lineup would have had Patrick Williams at the 4, Zach LaVine at the 3. You got Giddey and Kobe White in at the 1 and the 2, and Nikola Vucevic will be your starting center. That honestly, that's what I believe was going to be happening. And it still very well could happen. We don't know the timeline of P. Will's injury. We don't know how significant it is at this particular moment. But yeah, you are right. The Bulls are trying to pivot, but they have not necessarily pivot completely. Is it fair to say that, the South? Is it fair to say that? The Bulls are trying to pivot, but they have not fully pivoted for whatever reason that may be. Is it fair to say that? And I ain't saying Zach LaVine got to be the best leader. You just gotta do. You gotta do something different at this point of your career, bro. He gotta do something. Zach LaVine has to show somebody something. This is his job interview all over again. That's my only point. I'm not saying he's gonna be able to do it, but he got to do something, especially if you don't want to be in Chicago anymore. That's how I'm looking at that situation. Especially if you don't want to be in Chicago no more, you still got to come out here and be a professional. You still got to come out here and be healthy and put up points. So a team can be like, I bet we can use Zach LaVine. And the biggest thing that I took out of a lot of things that's coming out of the minicamp so far is that Zach LaVine is telling Billy Donovan he ain't going to be in the way of the development of the young players. Okay, it sounds good. But hey, the South. He got to show us, right, bro? He got to show us. We didn't heard all this talk coming from multiple players all through these years of assness. All them whiffs and stenches coming from being ass has been hitting the Bulls, and a lot of players been talking stuff. Vooch has talked. DeMar no longer here, but he's talked. Zach LaVine has talked. Billy Donovan, his front office, has talked. We done with that. We done with that. But I can say that I am happy to see a younger squad. I can say that. For sure. The South said, I like to see Giddey, White, Williams, Jalen Smith, and Vucevic. You want Jalen Smith to start at the 4? That's different. I ain't heard that one. You want Jalen Smith and Vooch on the floor at the same time? You want Zach LaVine to come off the bench? You want Zach LaVine to come off the bench? Hey, the South, before I get up out of here, you got to answer that. You want Zach LaVine to come off the bench, bro? Curry in the building Said, I felt like P. Will was injury prone 2 years ago. This latest setback doesn't surprise me. He's athletic but awkward with no finesse nor body control in the air. Just look at the past few injuries. And that's deep. That's deep. Can we agree that there has been some type of body control developed? Hey, remember a few years ago, he was breaking all them dunks. He putting it on people's head now. He put it on people's head now. Blessed Up said, I mean, Jalen Smith can run a 4. 45% from 3. That's Smith. I'm saying Levine needs to be traded. Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know if that's in Billy Donovan plans, to be honest with you. It'll be interesting. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Game 1, who we play game 1? OKC, I believe. In game 1, if Billy Donovan trots out Jalen Smith and Nikola Vucevic as their front court, I will be shocked. I ain't gonna lie. I will be shocked. But you did mention that has to come, you know what I'm saying, after Zach LaVine is traded. But it still will be interesting to see if at some point we see that. Maybe we see that lineup during the game. Maybe it's not a lineup you start with, but maybe we see that type of lineup at some point during these games. I think that'll be very, very interesting. I ain't gonna lie. You already know Billy ain't letting that happen. You already know Billy ain't letting that happen. But hey, Blessed Up Shay, you keep it a buck. When we was calling for Drummond and Vooch to play on the floor at the same time, Billy Donovan heard it somewhere through the grapevines, and we saw some minutes with Drummond and Vooch in at the same time. So never say never. Never say never. I ain't saying they got to start with it. I'm just saying maybe we might see some minutes with those two guys on the floor at the same time. I don't know how successful it's going to be, but it might be a little interesting trial that Billy Donovan tries out. You never know. You know Billy running with Lofton and Craig at the 4 and 5. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, last point about Kenny Lofton Jr., I think, honestly, he could potentially be the 15th man on the squad. Out of all the people that they brought in for training camp, I buy stock on Kenny Lofton Jr. because they brought in THT, EJ Liddell, players like that. I got my money on Kenny Lofton. I ain't saying he's going to play a lot, but I think he got a chance to make the squad. I do. Blessed Up Shay said he did that through the late part of the season, but that's true. I'm here for it. We want to see it. Hey, I ain't mad at it. We just want to see the Bulls play good basketball at the end of the day. That's it. We just want to see the Bulls play good basketball at the end of the day. We know we ain't gonna make no long run this season, but can we at least have a fun team to watch? Can we have a fun team to watch? That's all I ask. A few more before we get up out of here. The South said, speaking of Buzelis, he got to show me more on defense, rebounding, and the ability to lift the team to win it before he gets handed the keys. I think that's a valid point. And I also will add on that Montes Buzelis, with his mentality that he has, you don't want him to get rid of that mentality, but you also got to come to him and say, hey, sometimes you just ain't got it going, bro. We know you could take just about anybody off the dribble, or you believe that you could, but that ain't winning basketball if you don't have it going for that particular moment. Now, making those statements based off Summer League, and Summer League doesn't hold much weight, but that's something I'm anticipating could potentially happen during preseason games, to where you want Montes to move the ball around a little bit more, be more decisive with his actions and what he's going to do on the basketball court. And you know what I'm saying? If there is a one-on-one that you got to take advantage of, take advantage of it. But also, if you don't have it going for that game, find other ways to be effective. But I'm with you on that. 3-win at 19 with him last year. Oof. Montes seems more vocal and hungrier than P. Will. Hey, I'm just saying. Mike, he said, Mike Alley-oop. He said P. Will hurt already again. What? Shaking my head. Hey, we don't know how long it's going to be, though, Mike, but we'll see. And as the more information come out, we'll give it to y'all right here on Shy Bulls Podcast. So just make sure y'all locked in and y'all tuned in right here. We about to start ramping this thing up a little bit more as the season is getting closer and closer to start. Y'all know we going to rock out during, give y'all all the latest news that's coming out of training camp. We're going to be able to get y'all these live calls during the preseasons where C-Dub, the best caller in the game, is going to give you play-by-play. And we're just going to go ahead and watch Bulls basketball and see if we can see if we're moving in the right direction. We do have a lot of questions. We just want to see this young basketball team, you know what I'm saying, to put up some good minutes. The South said, I just need Dalen Terry to get 25 minutes per. Who he taking minutes from? Who Dalen Terry going to take minutes from? Hey, if you ask me, we shouldn't be seeing Dalen Terry. Don't let Julian Phillips get no minutes over you, dog. Dalen Terry, don't let Javon Carter be one of the reasons you don't get no minutes, dog. Torrey Craig, don't let him be one of the reasons you ain't getting minutes, dog. You know what I'm saying? Ayo gonna get his. Kobe getting his. Zach getting his. P. Will, whenever he comes back, he getting his. Dalen Terry, I don't see him playing 25 minutes per, but we got to give him some minutes. But it's going to be up to him to stay effective in those minutes. My man said, I'm not buying Giddey, bro. Lonzo Ball all day. Look, I'm going to tell you just like I tell C-Dub, because he loves Lonzo Ball. I respect Lonzo Ball, and I'm happy that he has fought his way back to potentially being back on this basketball court. However, I'm not banking on Lonzo Ball to be the Bulls starting point guard moving forward. I'm not saying that can change during the course of the season, but with the injury history that he has, you got to hope that Josh Giddey is the point guard of the future. And what has the front office told us when they traded for Josh Giddey? He's the future. And the reason I tell you that, and I give you that statement, and I let you know why I believe that, is because when you trade Alex Caruso, a player you could have gotten multiple first-round picks from or some type of pick for, you said, nah, we good. You ain't got to give us no draft capital. We good with just taking Josh Giddey. We, the front office, believe that Josh Giddey is good enough and is going to be better than any of the picks that you can give us in 2025, maybe 2026, so on and so forth. That's what the move told me. So the Bulls better hope Josh Giddey pans out and be the point guard of the future moving forward. You said Lonzo need to start right now? He ain't starting right now, bro. I'm just letting you know. You trying to pay Giddey 25 plus million next season potentially? It depends how he looks. Hey, Mike, if Josh Giddey comes out and give you 16, 6, and 7 this season, you paying him 25 mil? I just got to throw that question. If Josh Giddey, and I believe that's on the lower end. If he comes out and give you 16, 6, and 7, are you running and still saying, yep, we're going to run this thing with Giddey? He said no. He ain't paying him. Fair enough. What is going to be out there? Last question for you, Mike. What does Josh Giddey have to do to get the payday? What does he have to do to get the payday? If we talking about all-star game, what do you want to see? You know what I'm saying? That's going to be my last question for you. For sure. The South said, man, if Lonzo healthy, he taking that point guard spot, fam. I believe it when I see it. I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility, but I will say a guy that's coming off a cartilage transplant and who has failed to stay healthy, I don't know if I'm ready to hitch the wagon to it unless Lonzo Ball show me that he's finally healthy. And I will say he ain't starting right now. A guy that has missed 2 years of basketball, you want him to come back off the couch and start? Not me personally. Not me. It could be Billy. It could happen. But for me, I traded for Josh Giddey to be my point guard of the future. That's who I want to build around. Well, not build around, but that's who I want to run the show for my squad. Hopefully you can get the best out of Montes, and then that's who you know what I'm saying? That's who you get somebody out of. Mike said he's concerned with the defense and the three-point shooting problems. Well, last year, 33% from the field, that is below league average. I will give you that. The defense has not been great. I will give you that. But I will say every single year he's improved the three-point shot. The question is will he take another step? Can you get to 35%? That's league average. We'll see. We'll see. And the defensive problems, that's all effort. Is you gonna step up, young man. And we gotta hold him to that regards, Mike. I ain't gonna you right on the money with that. He got some things he need to touch up on before we just start giving out money. I'm with you. Blessed Up Shay said Lonzo can't start right now since they grabbed Giddey. They not gonna let that man come off the bench. That's what I'm saying. I think they when they went and got Josh Giddey, they had to consult with Billy Donovan on this. They had to. I believe you just don't make the moves without talking to the coach. I believe that's what it is. He said play defense and shoot 37% from the three. I think that's a fair goal to set. I honestly believe that's a fair goal to set. He got to get at least 18, 7, and 7. I believe it's doable. So if he go 18, 7, and 7, shoot 37% from the field, but still not that good on defense, are you still paying the man? Are you paying the man? Because you said that you also brought up that Lonzo Ball has looked pretty good in them runs. He has. I ain't going to hold you. But from the runs, they differ from NBA action. I want to see him in NBA action. He was. Billy was number one in the East with a healthy Lonzo. I can't wait to see what happens. I'm excited for it. For sure. But that is it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I got to bust a move. I just wanted to go ahead and give y'all this breaking news on Lonzo Ball. Make sure if you tuned in, you hit the like button and subscribe before you get up out of here. Take 2 seconds. Do what you got to do. And then if you want to be a part of the mailbag episode to further talk about P. Will or Lonzo Ball or anything that's on your mind, call in and leave your take so you can be a part of these mailbag episodes. Number is 773-242-9219. And you can also find it down below in the description box. Thank y'all so much. Make sure you also always see red, even when they stress us out and we want to hit them in the head. But nonetheless, I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Appreciate y'all.